Welcome to the SMB Community Podcast with your hosts, Amy Babinchek, James Kernan, Amy Luby, and Karl Palachuk. Produced by and for the Small Biz Thoughts technology community. We're dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional. Welcome to another SMB Community Podcast. This is Karl, and I'm joined today by James Kernan. Welcome, sir.
Hey, good to see you, Karl. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's just the two of us today, which is cool. We can do that. We know stuff.
Right. Little bit.
Right. So what have you been up to these days? These many days.
I've been busy. It's interesting. There's just a lot of activity, a lot of events going on in the channel, a lot of great things happening to the MSPs, a lot of people growing, Karl, I always talk to my mastermind peer group members on a weekly basis, and all of them give me the thumbs up when I say, what's going on with your pipeline? Are you seeing more activity, more opportunities inside your current customer base, new accounts? And I don't know where the news is coming up with all the negativity, but I'm hearing all good things out there. So yeah, I've been busy with coaching clients one-on-one and with events and so forth. So how about you?
Well, I have to say on the negativity side, I just posted on Facebook this morning a chart of the NASDAQ so far this year. So it's up a little over 20%, almost 25%. So, but the news is it's down today. Like, oh, okay, whatever. In terms of my personal life, I finished the online conference, which we do every 3 years, and it really did kick my butt. I have to say, at the end of the first day, it's like sitting in a chair and doing airline traffic control for 7 hours, and I was just drained, and I practically fell asleep in the hot tub at 8:30 at night. So I'm like, okay, all right, I should probably actually go to my bed before I fall asleep and die. So, but I'm recovered now, and things are moving in the right direction. Headed to Channel Pro at the beginning of June, the 7th and 8th, I think, for Channel Pro conference in San Jose. So that'll be fun. And with luck, I'll get to see a couple of my outsourced employees who live in the area. So that is what I'm up to.
Cool.
Our 5 minutes for the smart person today. Our smart person is Brian Hoppe, and he's a business coach. He ran an MSP, and he took all your advice, took all my advice, and turned it into a roaring business. And then he sold that, and so now he's out there helping other people to be successful as well. So just 5 minutes with Brian Hoppe. Hi, this is Karl, and I'm here with Brian Hoppe of Brian Hoppe Coaching. And let's do 5 minutes with the smart guys. So welcome.
Let's do it. Well, thank you very much. Let's do it.
Okay, smart guy. So tell me, who is Brian Hoppe and what kind of coaching do you do?
Well, Brian Hoppe is a former MSP. I sold my business back in 2021. Worked for the buyer for a while, and now I am an executive coach for MSPs, and I do one-on-one coaching, specifically with the CEO or owner of the company, and really it is it's a leadership coaching, and it really focuses on whatever is the most important thing for the business owner at that time. So that could be agreements. It could be I need to become a better leader. I need to adjust the way I interact with my team. I need to build a leadership team. It's really what are the most important issues that are going on in the business right now, and how can I help to facilitate those things? Use my experience that I've gained from years of running an MSP, and hopefully help others as much as I possibly can.
Very good. So what's the size of company that is probably best suited for you?
Well, it's a great question. I actually currently have clients anywhere from one employee themselves, all the way up to about 40 or 50 employees. So it really depends on, it's really more about the individual. Are they interested in one-on-one coaching? Are they open to change? Are they open to learning? do they want to grow personally, professionally? And so it's really less about the size of the company and more about the I would say the orientation of the owner towards growth.
Right. Well, I think most people, when they go to coaching, they know they have problems. And
Right.
and there's usually no confusion about what the problems are, how they
Uh-huh.
got there, so forth. And a lot of times I find they also know what the answer is. Like they know what the fix is. And you're like,
Mhm.
okay, so you know what the problem is and you know what the fix is. Why are we here today? You know,
Yes, sir. That is absolutely correct. And yes, so a lot of it becomes about okay, for some reason you know the problem, you know the answer, but we're staying in this spot. So how is it serving you to stay where you're at? And
right,
so sometimes it's just how do we find the right questions to unlock something that's gonna hopefully inspire them to change. How can I ask the best questions as a coach to help them dive into their potential and kind of build that bridge between where we're at today and where we want to go as a leader, as an owner. So yeah,
and
100%.
with your recent experience in the M&A world, do you do coaching along, helping people to sell their businesses or buy other businesses or anything like that?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely can do that. And have definitely learned a lot of the keys of the right the right way to go about increasing valuation, the right way to have conversations with whoever the buyers may be, whether that's private equity or or another MSP partner or a peer, those kind of things. So a lot of experience with those conversations, both on the buy side and the sell side as well. So yeah, for sure can have those kind of conversations and help people along that journey. Specifically in, hey, how can I get the most bang for my buck if I'm interested in exiting
Right,
as well.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how do folks get started?
How do they get started? Well, my website, brianhoppe.com. So it's BRIANHOPPE.com. And you can learn a little bit more about me there. There's a place where you can book a discovery call, and that's kind of the first step. We do a 45-minute discovery call and actually dive in, and we come with an issue that you're stuck on, and let's dig
Oh,
into a juicy issue and see if we can't solve it right on the
it's
spot.
not just marketing. Like, the original call is like, actually, like, I got this employee, blah, 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 right? That kind of stuff.
Oh, why not? Let's show the power of coaching right off the bat. No need to wait, right?
Exactly. So brianhoppe.com. And do you normally start out with like a SWOT analysis, or, what can somebody expect if they were to engage with you?
At the outset, it really depends on what the needs are of the owner, right? So, if I can kind of see, hey, this business it's pretty healthy business. We're kind of cranking. We're doing well on EBITDA and all those kind of things, and maybe the desire is more to focus on the owner rather than digging into some of those areas of the business. So yeah, I mean, it all starts with the conversation and what are the priorities of the owner or the CEO that we're talking to at the time. And yeah, absolutely, it could go into a SWOT analysis, that kind of a thing. But either way, we do, I do have kind of a welcome packet that just kind of helps them walk through all of that kind of stuff and say, okay, here's what I want to change, but that I haven't changed, those kind of things. So definitely some assessment in there, and then we go forward with what's best for the business.
So it sounds like it's a very personalized coaching. It's not like, I got a package, here's the bundle, we're going to go, these 3 steps, then these 3 steps, then these 3 steps, and you got it all planned out for 6 months or a year.
That is correct. Yes, it is very personalized, And yeah, I'm not gonna put you through a program. We're gonna figure out exactly what you need and what brings you the most value as the MSP owner.
Very good. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Karl.
Now is the time to join the Small Biz Thoughts technology community. Check us out at smallbizthoughts.org. There is no better value for training and education in managed services. Forms, templates, and checklists are just the start. Our community includes all of the best-selling books on managed services in all available formats, plus free 5-week courses, members-only programs, and the best business training available to managed service providers anywhere. Prices go up July 1st. Join now and you can lock in the lower price for life. See all the details and join us today at smallbizthoughts.org. Yeah, so here's a question. Does the Netflix crackdown on password sharing affect you? Because it's coming to the US. It's been in other countries. Now they're bringing it to the US. Do you share your network password with 23 of your best friends?
Just a couple family members. And as a matter of fact, I saw that last night.
Are they outside your household?
They are outside my household, yes. So they're in different homes, but in the area. And, it used to be one of the cool features of Netflix. It was a gray fuzzy area, but now it's pretty clear they want to bill individual households. So it's only $7.99 a month, but it's, for the first time, it popped up on my screen to log in, they're tracking your location and needed to do 2-factor authentication. And it's like, okay. So it happened to them as well. So I just saw that yesterday.
Ah, that's interesting. So my daughter keeps asking me, do I want her password and this and that? And I'm just like, for whatever it is, $10 a month, I just don't care. And, you can add the extra household for something like $8 a month. So it's not, it's not like they're ripping you off,
Right. I agree.
I think in those small amounts, I give $10 a month to pretty much any charity that asks for it. So, I'd be happy to spend $10 a month on something that actually brings me a wide variety of entertainment. So,
yeah. I think that's the right thing to do, is just get the additional accounts, pay for it, and then nobody will feel weird about it. But it was interesting because we've seen it in the headlines, and now all of a sudden it is reality. I saw it last night on the on the Netflix screen. So
I'll have to look. I normally either do, I only do like an hour a day, but it's either Netflix or HBO. And if I get on an HBO jag, then I don't even look at Netflix for, a week maybe. So
yeah.
I'm not sure the last time I checked in. The way I do it, I only pay for those two. And then when I go back to the other one, with luck, there's some new programs.
Yeah.
So very cool. All right. Well, we would love to hear your comments. So if you have any comments or questions, please go to our website at smbcommunitypodcast.com. And, there's a form you can fill out. You can even record some audio. And if you're not too insulting of me personally, then we might put it on the show. So, you can join us right here. Other bit of news, which I think is kind of funny. I put the research link in our show notes, but managed service market is expected to be, it's currently about 205 billion worldwide. Now that includes major corporations outsourcing stuff. So it's sort of a generic version of managed services. But it does break it down into the SMB or SME market and the larger market. But anyway, the part that I thought was funny is that they're projecting that it will grow to $594.8 billion by 2031. And I'm like, all right, this is just a like pick something out of the air and stick it on the wall. Why wouldn't you just say 595 billion?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, there are some interesting stats in the research, and again, the sort of broad definition of managed services. I really want this industry to prefer IT service provider, which is more inclusive of everything, because managed services, I think, should be reserved for people who sign contracts and take ownership of their clients' networks and are responsible for them and
Mhm.
can be held responsible for them. And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with a break-fix model or doing only project labor, but that is not managed services, and you should not call it that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Good point.
So it is interesting because they also, they include all kinds of other stuff besides just network support. Obviously, North America has the highest saturation of managed services, but it is in fact all over the place. Anyway, there's a lot of cool stats there. So I recommend that folks go look at this report. It is on alliedmarketresearch.com, and we will have a link in the show notes. So with that, James, do you want to give us the question of the day?
Yeah, the question of the day is a good one. What is more important, people or process? So people or process, and that's an interesting one. Again, we can go on for days about this, but Karl, I'd love to hear your take on that first.
Well, that is a really hard one because on one hand, you absolutely have to have processes and procedures. And in fact, you do have processes and procedures, whether you've documented them or not.
True.
But if you have horrible people, they don't follow your process and they don't treat your clients well. And even if they follow your process, they do it begrudgingly. You've talked to customer service people who they one-on-one are nice to you, but they grumble about their employer. Oh, I have to ask you these stupid questions. Do you mind? It's like, no, I guess I don't mind. So that is really tough. I don't know. In the biggest picture, if I absolutely, gun to my head, I would say processes, for the primary reason that you cannot control people, but you can control your process. So, at the end of the day, I can find people who will follow my process, but I don't want to in any way diminish the fact that I think people are extraordinarily important.
Yep. I think McDonald's would agree with you 100%. I just saw an article this morning where it was all kiosks and no people anymore at one of their facilities. So, I will respectfully have a different opinion, and I would say people, but let me first go back a second and kind of put things in context. To me, people versus process, they're both obviously important. We all know that. I think it has everything to do with what industry you're in and what size of your organization, how mature you are. Okay. And I think, Karl, our swimming pool, our community really is traditionally the MSPs, right? And most MSPs, 50% of them are 5 or less employees. So let's just say, anywhere from 1 to 50 employee MSPs, relatively small. I've always said we're in the people business. So my answer to that would be people, and based on the industry and based on the level of maturity in your business, it's the people that create the processes. It's the people that talk to the clients, that resolve their issues. But I think as your business matures and grows and scales, process ultimately becomes more important. So that's how I would answer that. But yeah, that's a tricky one.
It is tough because when I look at my business, if I didn't have the people I have, right down. And if I didn't have the people I had 5 years ago and 10 years ago, I literally wouldn't be where I am, right?
Mhm.
The nature of my business is portrayed to the world by how people are treated when they contact my employees, when they see how we work, they see the product that we put out, they see everything, right? So that's why I say I can't minimize the human factor in any way. And in fact, I go to great lengths to try to hire only spectacular people, nurture them a little bit, see where they grow, and then help them grow in certain ways that they maybe had not expected or I hadn't had in the job description at the time, right? So,
Yeah.
it's a very, we're full of processes. Like there's no question my company is run by processes and procedures. But at the same time, there's a culture element that is above all of it. If you were to say, instead of 2 options, give it 3, mission, vision, values, and culture are more important than the other 2. And maybe if I could say people and processes are equal underneath that.
Sure.
I'll cheat.
Yeah,
I'll make up my own rules.
that's a good spin on it. You said something really important as well. Even if the processes are in your head, because everybody has them, most people don't have a good way of documenting them. But you want documented procedures, and you also want to automate as many of those as you can, right? We've got so many great tools in our industry for people, and make sure those tools are automated and talking to each other to remove as much of the human element as you can. But I think that's an important point.
Well, and I would. So now let me respectfully disagree with you. So yeah, I want automation to a certain degree, but I also think you need to have one eye firmly on the client experience or the end user experience.
Mhm.
I'm writing a book on customer service, right? So I'm particularly focused into where automation goes sideways, because automation can remove too much of the people. And I'm glad you mentioned the McDonald's example. I don't like going to McDonald's and punching things onto a screen covered with God knows what from the last person's fingerprints, right? And I want the human interaction. At the grocery store, I always go to a line with a person in it, even if I have to wait for 3 people, because I want to have that 2-minute conversation with a human being, and I don't want to go run through the self-checkout and be done with it. That's just me, but I want that human interaction. And
Are you sure you go to the checker, the live person, because you don't have alcohol
well,
and you don't want to wait at the
that
kiosk?
might be a factor, but only 90% of the time.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I prefer the human element as well. Absolutely. I guess my point was back more at the software tools that we use in our business. We want to automate workflows, escalation paths, and then like data and like redundant keystrokes of, you type in a new contact record, you send an email to them, they raise their hand, it's a lead. You got to retype it into your CRM, and I want a quote, I'm going to retype in the same info into my quote module. They want to order it, now I got to retype in the sales order. That's kind of stuff that I even see really. It's one of the things I try to work on with my clients, is automating and having the tools talk to each other to remove those redundant keystrokes, where and when you can. But
yeah, I agree with that. I just think you have to ask the fundamental question: is this automation good for me, or good for the client, or good for both of us? Right. And there's some automations, like all the PSAs now, that you could, as soon as you close a ticket, they can send out a question. Hey, how is your service? Can you rate us right now? And 99% of the time, people don't fill those out, and you are training them to get in the habit that they're dealing with the machine and not a human being, and that they can ignore your email because it's probably one of those stupid questionnaires about whether or not they like the service they got. Right. So you do have to keep an eye on your automations and make sure that it is serving you and serving the client. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
So
like it.
Again, we want your feedback. What do you think? People versus process. Some of you have avoided having employees for 10, 15, 20 years because you don't want to deal with managing people. And so my suspicion is that you also rely very heavily on your processes, but you may not have them documented. So, you know, how can you hire me to come in and help you on a bigger job if you don't have your processes documented? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
Very cool. So what's up next for Mr. James?
So I am gearing up. We're about 4 weeks out from the mastermind event in Denver, June 29th and 30th. So finalizing the speakers, finalizing the agenda, all the food and fun stuff. We got a Colorado Rockies baseball game that Friday night, right at the conclusion of the 2-day conference.
Wow.
So pretty excited about that. Yeah, downtown Denver, if you've not experienced the downtown nightlife, wow, what a fun city that is. And I think it's the finale baseball game, meaning it's the fireworks display. So, you know, June 29th, June 30th, it's the June 30th game. It's, you know, they're celebrating the 4th of July because they must be away that next week. So yeah, that'll be a fun event.
Very cool. So what are the dates for your event?
June 29th, June 30th in Denver, Colorado. We do broadcast as well remotely. If anybody wants to listen in on any of the sessions, once you register, you'll get a copy of the agenda and the link to Zoom. But, you know, like we were just saying, I like the people element. So we always prefer people to come in person. That's where the majority of the people will be. So hope to see you there.
Very good. And give us your website just for fun.
KernanConsulting.com, KERNAN consulting.com. So
Great.
that
We'll put that in the show notes as well. I am gearing up to be at ChannelCon at the beginning of August. So I know it's early, but if you want to go to ChannelCon and you don't have $1,200 sitting around burning a hole in your pocket, you can get in for free if you use the code SB Small Biz Thoughts 23. So SBSMALLBIZ Thoughts 23. And we'll put that in the show notes as well as a link to the ChannelCon registration. I've got a booth there. We're going to be giving away a classic old robot and just kind of having some fun in our booth there. So I would love to see you all at CompTIA's ChannelCon, August 1, 2, 3 in Lost Wages.
Are you going to be wearing your yellow tie, Karl?
I will have my tie with me. I was trying to decide whether to put the tie on the robot, in the graphic, on the sign. So that decision has not yet been made. And, you know, this is the other benefit of having staff. It may not be my decision.
Yeah.
I'm frequently outvoted by my staff because I exceed the limits of what is reasonable.
Awesome.
Very good. Well, that will do it for this SMB Community Podcast. We appreciate your listening. And please, if you like it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe so that you don't miss a show. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for tuning into the SMB Community Podcast. If you found this useful, interesting, or fun, please subscribe, share with your friends, and give us a thumbs up on your favorite social media. Please check out the show notes at smbcommunitypodcast.com and give us your feedback.